Hi, this is David McCann for WebTNG. This video is a first look at the CubeWP framework, a brand new solution for working with dynamic data. CubeWP calls itself an advanced end-to-end dynamic content framework. With the free CubeWP framework, you can create custom post types, add custom fields and custom taxonomies, but there is also some ability to create templates for display on the front-end filters, and search options. CubeWP also has dynamic data integration with Elementor Free and Pro, and we'll take a quick look at that in the video. Note that in addition to the free core framework, CubeWP also has a number of premium extensions. They add features for things like front-end forms, payment, and on-site communication. However, I found that the free plugin is so extensive that it deserves a video of its own, and it was too much to try to cover everything at once. So I'll focus on the core framework here and look at one of the premium extensions in a subsequent video. If you like the video, please subscribe. It helps to spread the word about the channel. This is CubeWP in the WordPress plugin directory. You can see it has fewer than 10 active installs, so yes, it is brand new. I believe there's been a lot of testing of the early versions. You see they've already got 6 releases. The free plugin functions as a core, and with the core you can create custom post types, custom taxonomies, and custom fields. And then there's some other features which are kind of limited. This is the company's website. You can see they have a number of premium or paid extensions. There's a front-end builder, front-end pro. There is a payment extension for accepting payments using different revenue channels. There is an on-site messaging extension, Inbox, for direct user communications. And then in the coming soon category, there's a post review and ratings extension. There's a promote and boost traffic extension and a calendar booking extension. While the extensions list doesn't seem to be limited to any one niche, it seems like they might work well for creating directory, coaching, or membership types of sites. This is a testing site with the free Cadence theme. If we go and look at the plugins, we see that I have the free CubeWP framework and the free version of Elementor installed and activated. I have the CubeWP Front-End Pro extension installed also, but it's not activated because I want to show you what you get with the free version. And later in the video, we will use Elementor Free and Pro so you can see the integration. When you activate CubeWP, you get a new area in the WordPress admin, and you can see that there are a number of settings pages. Some of them are unlocked and ready to use, and others are locked and show a lock icon next to them. These are unlocked by the Front-End Pro extension. If we go to the dashboard, we can see it has a lot of links to documentation, support, YouTube, and their Facebook community. And there's some general information on the side about their Pro extensions. We'll look at these other pages here more in a few minutes, but as an overview, the post types page is where you create custom post types, the taxonomies area where you create custom taxonomies, and the custom fields area where you create custom field groups. Also unlocked are pages for customizing search filters and search forms. There's a general settings area and places for importing and exporting CubeWP data. Let's begin by creating a custom post type. Go add new. There's a tooltip next to each item that gives you some information about it. The slug is what shows in the URL, and I'll type book. The plural label will be books, and the single label will be book. And for description, I'll write a custom post type for book reviews. And then for a dash icon, let's go and find the one for books. So we'll use this one, and it's dash icons dash book. Okay. And then we go to the advanced settings. I'm going to just go with the defaults. Okay. The last options are some of the features that the custom post type supports, and we'll click excerpt to have it also support the excerpt. Now we'll save. Okay, that was very fast. And let's go back in. You'll notice that just a few of these are required, and you can just go with the defaults. And another thing you'll notice if you've used tools like Custom Post Type UI is that it has a huge screen, probably more than half of the options for a custom post type with that program are to customize the labels in the editor and other places. So they've left all those off, and I usually just go with the defaults anyway, but that's something you don't have if you're someone who goes in and manually sets those. Okay. Now let's go and add a taxonomy. Okay, I'll click Add New. And this is very much like the previous screen for custom post types, but it's even shorter. So for slug, I'll write genre, plural label, genre, single label, genre. And want it to be public, show in UI, show in admin columns. So that's a nice feature. Hierarchical. No, I don't need it to have parent-child nested categories, so I'll set that to false. Query var true and show in REST API true. And then over here on the side, we want to assign it to the custom post type books and click Save. Again, a very quick process. Now let's go to Add Custom Fields. And you see you can add custom fields to user roles, to taxonomies, but we're doing post types, and I'll click Add New, and we'll call this Book Fields. And this, if you have more than one of these, the order that they'll show in at the bottom of the edit screen. Then for description, I'll say, let's see, fields for book reviews. Okay, and then we'll add our first field. And our first one we'll say is going to be author website. And you notice that it's auto-generated this field name, and it's, doesn't have much information. We don't know what this is about, so it'd be hard to reference this. So I'm going to unlock it and change this. I'll leave the prefix CWP on, but I'll have it be CWP _ author website. And then I'll lock it back. If you change the name, the field name, after you've entered data, you'll lose that data. It'll come disassociated with the field group, with the field. So I'm going to lock it back so it can't accidentally be changed. And then for field type, we go and you see that CubeWP has a large number of field types, pretty extensive list. There's text, number, email, URL, password, text area, WYSIWYG editor, OEmbed, file, image, gallery, switch, color, range, drop-down, checkbox, radio button, Google address, which is, I guess, for maps. You have date picker, date time picker, post, taxonomy, and user. Those three are relationship fields. And then repeating field, and repeating fields are powerful. And so we'll say that we want a URL field and give a description of link to author's website. And we don't need a placeholder or character limit. And we'll say we want it to have validation, and we'll say valid URLs only. And then this ID class and container class, I think that's for styling with CSS. I'm going to give it the ID the same as the name, author, website. And then this is the size, and you have the option to make it full width or half width. So I'll make it half width, have it show in the REST API. I'm not sure that that's absolutely necessary, but I'm going to do that. And then conditional logic, these are display rules. Okay, so now I'm going to go add our second field. Okay, and this one will be author photo. Again, I'll unlock this and change the name to be something meaningful and easier to reference. Field type here, we want it to be an image. Now we add the MIME type here. You see that's the example. So I'll add two, I'll just paste in here, image JPEG, comma, image PNG. And I'll have that validated also and add the message, please enter JPEG or PNG images only. And again, I'll change the ID to be the same as the name and set this to be half width, show in REST API as true. Okay. Now if we go up here, we can set what we want it to be assigned to show up as. And I'll go book and save the group. And now you note we have our book custom post type showing in the admin menu. Here are the genres. Let's add new. You can see we have the regular place for the title and the content. Over here we have a place for the featured image and the excerpt. We also have a place where we can enter our genres and our 2 custom fields. Okay, so I'm just going to copy over some content here. So we'll say Long Range by CJ Box, and I'll paste in some dummy text, and we'll add the genre, and we'll upload a featured image. And you can see I'm using the book cover for the featured image. And now I'll add a link to the author's website. And I'll upload an image of the author. Okay. And I'll grab this first paragraph to be our excerpt. Okay, and now I'll publish this. All right, so you can see now we have our first book record. I'm going to pause the video and add a bunch more, and then I'll resume. Okay, I've entered a bunch of records here now. Let's go to the front end, and I've also created this menu. So let's go to the book archive, and this is the default archive that CubeWP creates for us. Okay, this is not the Cadence default archive. And there are a couple of things here. One is that we have this default map here, which doesn't make sense in our case. Another thing is that, the featured image is cut off here the way this is made. And then the filter doesn't show anything there. And we can sort, though, by newest or oldest. And there's this option here how to display in a grid or as a list. Okay, that almost looks a little better. All right, so let's see what we can do now to tweak these things. Remember, we're still in the free version of CubeWP. So I'm actually going to clone that tab so we can get back here quicker. Let's go to the dashboard and let's go to CubeWP. And now let's go to these settings here. Okay, so Google address search radius. Well, we're not going to use a map, so we can turn that off. See, they have settings for that. Okay, so here we have an option for which type of map we're going to use. Supports OpenStreetMap, Google Maps, or Mapbox API. So that's nice. Then you can set the latitude and longitude. And here is, I think, what we want, the archive settings. So we can just turn off the CubeWP version of the archive and use the theme or some other tool. So you have that flexibility. Map on the archive, it doesn't really make sense for us. And then we have filters on the archive on, and the sorting option, the layout switcher, and the found text. I don't think we really need to sort by date or have the layout switcher or the found text, so I'm going to turn these off. Let's go, we're going to have the search filter on. So let's go to the search filter and let's select our post type. Then the book individual fields is a pro feature, but we can add the taxonomy. Okay, and here's a label, and we have some class options. We can display it as a checkbox or a drop down. Okay, there's some form settings here if we want to add classes or IDs for styling. But let's just save this now. And we'll go to the archive. All right, and now we see we have our option to filter by the taxonomy. So if we do fantasy, we get the fantasy books. If we do mystery, we get the mystery books. That's a nice little feature there that comes with CubeWP. Let's click and go through to a single book record. You can see by default we have this header image stretched this way, which maybe doesn't make sense in our case. We have some share buttons. We have the option to save as a favorite. We have our genre here. And then there's a little author box. And here are our custom fields. Okay, so this is kind of stretched out. The photo is actually smaller. It's 125 by 125 pixels. Maybe it'd be nice to have this as a button or something. You know, so let's go see what we can do with the free version now. Let's switch back over to the settings. And this time, let's go to the post settings. Again, we can turn this off if we want to use the theme or another tool. There's the save button. There's a share button, which we can turn off. I'm going to turn off this post save button and save. And now we turn off that saving bookmark feature. Okay, now if we look at the bottom down here, there's a post type for Elementor single page. Please select the post type for Elementor single page. So this is where we can use the free version of Elementor now to lay out our page options. So let's go look at the CubeWP integration with Elementor Free. And now we have to select the single page that we've created to be our template. So I'm going to save this and we'll come back and select this after we create our page. Let's go to Pages, Add New. We'll call this Book Single. I'm going to publish it and now edit with Elementor. Okay, I'll close the navigator for now. Okay, let's start and we'll add a new section. And I'm going to add some margin here. And then on this side, let's add an image. Notice that even though we're just using Elementor Free now, we have the dynamic data option turned on by CubeWP. So CubeWP custom fields and CubeWP single post data. Here's featured image. Let's see what we can do now to get a preview of this. We need to switch to CubeWP single post as the layout. And now we can select a post to be our demo data, our placeholder data. So now let's update and let's go back. Let's center this. Let's try this again. Now that we've set our option. Not getting a preview. Let's go. I think it might just be a little slow here. Let's go to Style and go ahead and set the size of the image. Want it to be, say, 180 wide and the height 260. Okay, it did show. It took a while for it to show up, but it did show here, so that's nice. Then let's go and add a heading. And we'll do dynamic data for that. And we want this to be not a custom field, but post title. Then we want to add, let's add a text field here and go to dynamic data. And this will be the content. Okay, so now let's go and add an image here. And we'll set that to be centered, and we'll do the size of this as 150 by 150, and we'll do dynamic data for that. And this time we want to be a custom field, the author's photo. So it found that, and there it is. That's great. Okay, now let's add a button. Okay, we'll center that. Visit author's website. Okay, and then for the link, we want to have dynamic data, and this is going to be a field type URL, author's website. Okay, so now let's save this. Let's go back to our CubeWP settings. Let's go to the dashboard. And we'll go to CubeWP settings now, and the post settings, book, and it's going to be book single, and save that. Okay, now here we are back. Remember, this is the default CubeWP, but now we've used their integration with Elementor Free, and let's refresh. And here's the single template we created with Elementor Free. If we click here, we go to the author's website. Okay, so what we see with the free version is that CubeWP has a nice integration with Elementor Free for creating the single. The archive is still not a very flexible option. Now let's go activate Elementor Pro. See what happens. Okay, so let's go to plugins. Okay, I'm going to install Elementor Pro. Let me pause the video here and go Pro. And one thing that unfortunately happens when we activate Elementor Pro is if we go now and look at our settings options under post settings, see we lose that ability to pick a page as our template for the custom post type. If we go to the front end of the site and go to a book single, you see we're back to this. So if you have Elementor Pro, maybe that's not too big of a tragedy because you can turn off the CubeWP single and archive versions and use the Elementor Pro theme builder, because CubeWP has that integration with the dynamic data with Elementor, so the custom fields are available there. So that's a walkthrough of looking at the new CubeWP framework. Now for some discussion and conclusions. It's clear from the core framework and the list of premium extensions that CubeWP wants to be an end-to-end solution for working with dynamic data. Now, there are two parts to working with dynamic data: the creation on the back end and then the display on the front. I found the process of creating the custom post type, taxonomy, and adding custom fields on the back end to be very straightforward and fast. The CubeWP team has streamlined the process, left off labels and some of the more rarely used options. That will work for most users, but if you do need one of the more obscure settings, then it would be good to have some way to access them, perhaps with a filter. All in all though, CubeWP is like an easier to use version of CPT UI. So the creation portion is pretty straightforward and well developed for a brand new tool, but what about display on the front end? The CubeWP team decided to offer their own brand of custom fields rather than support something like ACF, Advanced Custom Fields. That eliminates the dependency on another plugin, but means that they must deal with third-party builder compatibility or create their own builder. Creating your own builder is a big job, and the layout options built into CubeWP are still a bit primitive compared to the rich feature set users are familiar with. To deal with this, CubeWP has a good integration with Elementor, and the dynamic data features work even with Elementor Free. Too bad that the custom templating integration with Elementor Free only works with the post single template. This is a place where it would be good if CubeWP either allowed users to customize the archive layout more or extended the special Elementor integration to also include the archive. The CubeWP team has some ambitious plans with the premium extensions, so it's in their best interest to integrate with other builder options, perhaps by adding some Gutenberg blocks and by exposing the custom fields for the Bricks builder, like they did for Elementor. The CubeWP framework is new, and the team is looking for feedback from users. Go ahead and try it out and let them know what you think. It's a free plugin. By providing a feature-rich free plugin, CubeWP shows that they want to be a serious option. Further, if we look at the type of Pro extensions they have and that are planned, we can see that they are targeting niches that often rely on dynamic data, creating a natural pairing with their own framework. So that's my walkthrough of the CubeWP framework. There's a text version of the video available on the WebTNG website, along with other walkthroughs, reviews, and videos. Hope you found the video useful. Thank you for watching.